Salaam Alaykum.
Salam. How's everyone?
Good, good, good. Yourself?
We're doing well, alhamdulillah. Good to see
Good.
you all again.
Yes. Good to see you again.
All right, all right. So we're gonna do this the way we did it last time, the children first, and then you.
Yes, yes. All right.
Okay. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Okay. All right. I want to see your beautiful, bright, shining faces in the camera. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice. Okay, great, great. So why don't you tell our audience your names again, beginning with the youngest.
My name is Fakan.
Furkan. Can you spell that for me, please?
Furqan.
Very good. And your brother's name?
My name is Rayan. Rayaan.
Excellent. So Furkan and Ray.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice names. Very good names with a very good meaning. So you ready to get started for your lesson
Yes.
today?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you something that I put together, a couple of letters that I want you to learn today, okay? You ready to learn letters?
Yes.
All right. You ready to learn Arabic letters?
Yes.
You ready to learn Quranic Arabic letters?
Yeah.
What's the difference between regular Arabic letters and Quranic Arabic letters? Any of you can answer that.
I know something that's the same about the con letter and the it's that uh they both every word has a meaning.
Oh. Every word and every letter?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Rayon, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so like the Arabic letters that has a meaning. So like any other language, like English, like ABC, does it have like a meaning?
Okay. But that's not quite true. Every letter in every alphabet has a meaning. But what's the difference between regular letters that have regular meanings and Quranic Arabic letters that have meanings? What's the difference between Quranic meanings and regular letter meanings? Where did these Quranic Arabic letters and words come from? Who gave us those words?
Allah.
So there's a big difference there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what those differences are. And when you learn these Quranic Arabic letters, you're going to see why they are different and
Okay.
very different. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me go find my notes. They're in here somewhere. Ah, here they go. Okay. I really missed you guys. Glad you could be with me today. And a lot of people in our audience, they miss you also. So they told me to say, hey, what happened to those two little brothers? I said, coming back. Don't worry, they'll be back. And here you are. All right. How was school?
Good. Good.
All right. Getting good grades and all of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a test next week and two for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Oh, it is that time of year. Yeah. You're in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
two of them because I'm going to middle school.
Yes, you certainly would be at your age. Which one of you just had a birthday last time I saw you? Somebody was about to have a birthday, right?
Um, I don't think so.
When is your birthday?
My birthday is in January 29.
Okay. And Furkan, when is your birthday?
February 19.
Yeah, so it was you. I haven't seen you in a while. So I think the last time you were about to have a birthday, if I remember correctly. All right, so January and February. All right, that's all right. Okay, now Today, we're going to be talking about 3 different Quranic Arabic letters. Okay? Can you see my paper on your screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So, can you pronounce those 3 letters? Any of you?
Aleph, Ba, Mim.
Okay, good. Who gave me that? Rayon?
No, Furqan. Yeah.
Furkan. Okay, Rayon, let me hear you say it.
Okay. Aleph, Ba, and Mim.
Okay. So out of habit, you're saying ba, and that's correct, but it originally was pronounced as bait. Can you say bait?
Bait.
Yeah. So now say those 3 letters again.
Aleph, Bait, and Mim.
Okay. And you, Furkan?
Aleph, Bait, and Mim.
Very good. All right. So we're going to talk about what each of these letters mean, and then we're going to see what words these letters mean when you combine them together. Okay.
Okay, and also I know what Arabic letters and the Quran letters, like the difference.
Okay, well, very good. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to have the actual Arabic letters up here so that you can read them in Arabic, okay?
Okay.
All right, very good. And there are going to be a lot of people out there that are your age that are going to be watching you on YouTube. And they're going to be very proud of the fact that you know your Arabic letters and that you're going to help teach them their Arabic letters. You mind doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, very good. Okay, so again, today we're talking about the letters Aleph, Bait, and Meme. Now you might think to yourself, how come we're not learning the 3 letters at the beginning of the Arabic alphabet? Well, how come we're only learning the first 2, which is Aleph, Bait,
And
or
Tay.
Aleph, Ba? Where in the world did meme come from? Why is Instructor Bilal sticking a letter that's all of the way halfway down the alphabet? Why is he sticking that as the 3rd letter? You'll see in a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm going to call on you to speak. If I don't call on you, don't speak, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's start with Rian.
Okay. So
What
actually,
does Aleph mean
Aleph,
here?
spine, strong.
Spine. Yeah, spine. You ever hear of spine?
No, I never heard spine.
Okay, good. Then I have a chance to teach you something new. Very good. And what word comes after that?
I'm strong.
Very good. Okay, so one thing you would know from looking at both of these words, even though you don't know what spine means yet, you know that whatever spine means, it's going to have something to do with something strong, right?
Yeah.
Because it's on the same line. It's right next to it, right? So let's find out what the spine is. And then you tell me, once you know what the spine is, why the spine has to be strong. The spine is a part of your body. Now, can you guess what the spine is? Where it is?
The muscles, like the
Okay.
arm.
No, not yet, not yet. Now listen carefully. You heard of your skeletal system?
No.
Do you know what a skeleton is?
Yeah.
Do you know what parts of the body your skeleton represents?
Not all the body parts, like the inside, I don't know.
Okay. What is the skeleton made of?
Bones.
Yeah. Can you say that, Furkan? Bones?
Yeah, bones.
Can you spell bones, Furkan? Can you spell the word bone?
Bone.
Yeah. That's great. Now I'm going to ask you just for the record, Rayon, can you spell the word bone?
Bone.
Very good. Okay. I'm going to leave that right there and I'm going to come back to that idea. If I don't come back to that idea today, then you remind me next week to speak on the word bone. Okay?
Okay.
Because that comes from 2 Arabic letters that you're going to be learning today. And those are the letters Bait and Noon. Can you say those two letters, both of you?
Bait and noon.
Bit and noon.
All right. In English, those letters are B and N. Can you say that?
B and M.
Very good. What about you, Furkan?
B and M.
Not M, N.
B and N.
Okay, spell the word bone again.
BONE.
All right. Can you hear the letters B and N in the word bone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the two letters we'll be talking about, but not today. Okay, unless we have enough time at the end of this class. Now, the spine is a part of your skeleton. So the spine is a bunch of bones that are located in your back. Where is your back?
Behind us.
Yeah.
You ever see this long bone that's in the back of your body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got like a lot of different bones that are like kind of fused together.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you give me a minute, I'm gonna quickly find a picture of the spine so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, can you give me 1 minute? Give me 1 minute to go find that picture. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. I have to go on the internet to get it. Okay,
Okay.
so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So give me just 1 moment. Don't go anywhere. You'll still see me, I guess, or you'll still see you. I don't know what you're seeing in your camera, but don't go anywhere. Can you see me switching pictures, or do you still see my notes?
I still see the letters of elephant and
Good.
bait.
Okay, that's what I want you to see. Okay, so stay right there. Okay. Okay, I'm getting a picture of the spine, and I'll be right back to put them in my notes. Right. Watch this. See that picture?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, let me make it smaller so it will fit. There it goes. All right. So look at this picture. This is a picture of the spine. Okay.
Okay.
This bone right here. Where does it start? What part of your body does it start?
The neck.
Yeah. And then it goes all the way down. What part of the body is this right here?
The shoulders.
The shoulders. Yeah. So it goes past the shoulders, right? What part of the body is this here in front of you?
The
What is
arms.
that? Hmm?
The arms.
The arms are on the sides, but what is this part right here?
The
Right,
chest.
right beneath, yeah, the chest. Very good. And then it goes all the way down. Now, in front of your body, what part would this be right here? In front of your body, where the food goes.
Belly.
Belly. Yeah, all right. Okay. So you still be getting ready to talk about the belly, right? All right. All right. And then this is the end of your spine. And this is called your spinal column. Can you say that? Column?
Column.
Column.
Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
we're going to be talking a lot about the spine. Now I'm going to do one more thing. So don't go away. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go and snatch the letter Aleph in Arabic since you both know how to read Arabic. That's what you told me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So don't go anywhere. Just stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. It turning back. Now watch this. Hmm? Look at that letter right there. See that letter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the spine is. It's the letter Aleph. So you have Arabic letters in your body. Did you know that?
No.
No.
Now you know that, right? This would be your skull, your head. That would be this part here if it was sideways. And this little curved line going down is the spine and all those bones. Do you know how many bones there are in your spine?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
100?
No, not in your spine. There's over 100 bones in your body, but there are 33 bones in your spine. Say, my spine has 33 bones.
My spine has 33 bones.
For a
My
concept.
spine has 33 bones.
And I'm going to ask you that question again next week and see if you remember that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, tell me one more time, Rayon, how many bones are in your spine?
My spine has 33 bones.
And Furkan?
My spine has 33 bones.
All right. So when you go to school and you can tell your teacher, say, do you know how many bones are in my spine and in your spine? You can tell your teacher there. They're in your spine too. And
Okay.
if the teacher says, I'm not sure, what are you going to say?
I'm gonna say our spine has 33 bones.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Okay. And if you see your Arabic teacher at the masjid, you can say to your Arabic teacher, did you know that the letter Aleph is like the spine? And then you can show them these pictures, right?
Okay.
I'm going to send you these notes and you're going to print these notes and you're going to take them to school. If dad lets you take them to school and you're going to say, look at what I learned about Aleph. It looks like the spine. Now, what did we say about the spine here?
The spine is strong.
That's right. Remember that. That's an important point. The spine is strong. I'm going to show you how strong this spine is. Now, put your hand on your lap, on your thigh. Are your hands on your thighs?
Yeah.
What about you for the, okay, there you go, right? Now, there's a bone in there somewhere. If you push down with your thumbs, can you feel a thigh bone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Your thigh bone is one of the strongest bones, not just in your leg, but in your whole body. That's a strong bone right there. Now, put your hand on you know where your calf is? Beneath your thigh, beneath your knee? You know where your calf is?
No.
Okay. Your calf is the back of your leg that's connected down to your ankle and your foot, but it's above your ankle and your foot. It's right beneath your knee. So go to your knee, then go down, then go back towards the back of your leg. You feel that part of your leg?
Yeah.
That's called your calf. C-A-L-F. Spell it for me.
C-A-F.
C-A-L-F.
C-A-L-F.
Yeah. Furkan, spell that for me.
C-A-L-F.
Very good. But you were right when you said calf because you don't pronounce the L. You just say calf. You don't say calf. I can't explain this English language. It's a strange language. They put
Is
a
it
letter in there and
because
then
the
they
word
say
is silent?
it's silent. Yeah. English has a whole lot of silent letters. They must be keeping secrets from somebody. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Can you spell the word phone?
Phone?
Yeah, like telephone, phone. You ever learn to spell that word?
No.
Phone.
Very good. Good.
And PH is always the sound of F.
That's correct. So what would happen if I was in school and I told the teacher that I know how to spell the word phone, and then I told her that you spell it Phone, but then I said to her, but you pronounce it home. Would I be right?
No.
But it says PH, like pahone. How come I'm wrong?
Because the PH it sounds like a little bit like the F.
Well, how come they didn't just put F?
Um,
You mean to tell me that I'm going to get an F, like fail, because I pronounced it the way it looks? Teacher's going to give me the F if I say Phone. She's going to say that's wrong. But I said, but it sounds like phone, like Phone. She's going to say, yeah, it sounds like that, but it's a PH. PH is pahone. She's going to say, no, it's not. It's going to be confusing. You know why? Because English is a confusing language sometimes. But Arabic is not confusing like that. Arabic is exactly like you see the letters. It's never going to try to trick you. It's never going to try to be secretive or anything like that. Whatever you see in Arabic, that's what you're going to pronounce. You got that?
okay.
Okay, now let's get back to the strong bone. The thigh bone is very strong. The calf bone is very strong. The bones in your arm, you carry things in your arms, right? Touch your arms. You carry your books to school?
Yeah.
You ever pick up a box or something for mom or some packages or something and carry it into the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So your arms have bones that are strong, but this spine bone is probably the strongest bone in your whole body. It doesn't look like it, but it is. You know why?
Oh, ow.
What happens if you hurt that bone or if you crush that bone? What happens? What happens to your body?
I know.
Go ahead, Furkan.
The like first of one question. If the spine breaks, would your body not be that strong? Like it would be a little weak from all your body?
Well, let me ask your brother this question. How weak would you be if you break that bone or if you crunch that bone?
Um, sometimes you have to like wear something like to cover it like heel. So you can't like bend down. You have to like stay straight.
You're supposed to. That bone keeps you straight, right?
Yeah.
Can you stand up without a spine?
No.
No. So listen, now listen, this is the important thing I want to tell you both, okay? You listening? Put your hand up to your ear. Say, I'm listening, instructor.
I'm listening, instructor.
I'm listening, instructor.
Okay. If you crush that spine bone by mistake, something falls on your back or you trip and break your spine and all of that, you'll probably end up in a wheelchair, and you don't want that to happen. And if you crush that bone, you can't stand up anymore. And people who crush their spine bones, they usually die. See how important that bone is?
The bone is
The spine, the spine. You can crush your hand and the bones in your hand, but you can still live. You can crush that thigh bone that we talked about, that big bone in your thigh that you were touching. You could damage that bone and you could still live. You could remove your whole leg. You know, you ever see people who have what's called amputations?
Yeah.
They might be in a car accident or something, and then they have to have their leg removed, or they might have like diabetes or something, and it just goes wild in their body. And then sometimes they have to have their leg removed, or they have to have one arm removed. You've seen people like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can live without those bones. You can live without your toes, your feet, your ankle, your. I mean, you can live without all of these other bones, but you cannot live without your skull. Where's your skull?
Right here in your head.
Okay, right. And your spine, if you look at it carefully on the right here, it's connected to your skull. You see it?
Yeah.
Your skull is right there, right? Just like in the picture of the letter Aleph, here's your spine, and your skull is right here. And you cannot live without your skull because you need that for your brain. You need that to think and to control the rest of your body. But you also cannot live without your spine because your spine is connected to all of the nerves that are in your body. Can any of you repeat that for me?
Nerd.
Your spine is connected to what?
Your nose.
All of the nerves that are in your body. You got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys these questions as your homework questions next week. So when you listen back to this, you make sure that you write that down.
About
Your
the
spine, yeah, you're going to write down that your spine is connected to all of your nerves. Your dad will help you write that out, okay?
Okay.
I have another question.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Why is your feet, like when you're not bending your feet, why is your feet kind of like an L shape? Does that stand for lamb?
Okay, I'm sorry. Why is your feet like what again?
An L shape. Is it for lamb or
An
something?
L shape. Yeah. Yeah, your leg and your feet can be lamb. That's right. So when we get to the letter lamb, make sure that I have a picture of a leg on the page, okay?
Okay.
But you are exactly right. Give your camera a high five. I have my hand in front of my camera. Give me a high five through your camera. Come on. Just reach your hand up. Ah, there you go. Okay. All right. I can't get a high five from you, Rihanna. Where's my high five, man? Yeah. I got you. I got you. I got it. All right. All right. Okay. Let's continue. Here we go. Okay. So Aleph represents the spine. And the spine is in your back, and the spine is the strongest bone in the body only because you can't do without it. Your body cannot live without your spine being in working condition. Okay? Very, very important part of the body, the spine. So that's Aleph. And the spine is strong because the spine is the reason why you can stand up. You're standing on your legs, but if your spine wasn't working, even though you have legs, you still would not be able to stand up.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
like some people, like when they have their leg removed, sometimes they have the stick.
Yeah, they have to walk with a cane, right? Or a staff or something to support their body. That's right. That's correct. You guys are so smart. My goodness. All right. You ready to learn some more?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to the second letter. Bait. So let's begin with Furkan. Can you tell me what this word is here, Furkan?
Belly.
Yeah. Where is your belly? You told me
Right here.
already. Yeah, where?
Right here.
Yeah. What goes on down there? Well, what is that belly for? What did Allah give you that belly for?
For eating.
I thought your mouth does the eating.
Um,
What did he give you the belly for?
For the breathing, like the belly breath, the
I thought your chest gave you the breathing. I thought your lungs were in your chest. What is that belly for?
Is it for when you eat food, it goes down your belly?
That's correct. And what does it do once it gets into the belly?
It puts it in a special place.
Yeah. A bunch of special places. You heard of vitamins?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Vitamin B, vitamin A,
Yeah,
And vitamin D.
a whole lot of vitamins, right? Vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin E, right? A lot of vitamins, right? And the vitamins come into you mostly through your food, right?
Yeah.
and
Okay, so hold on. Once the vitamins get into your belly, then your belly knows to send those vitamins to different parts of the body. See, it sends it to different parts of the body through your blood because your body needs those vitamins and that nutrition in order to keep living and staying strong. So that's what the belly does. Once it gets into the belly then breaks that food down because there's acids in there. You know what acids are? Very, very hot. Very, very hot liquid acids, right? It breaks that food down. So even if you had like a piece of steak or a piece of fish or salad, whatever you eat, the acids are going to break that food down into liquid.
I have another question.
Okay, I want you to hear what I'm saying first.
Vitamin
So
D.
wait a minute, wait a minute. You have to get permission to speak. Okay? I want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying before we go into a new idea. So what did I say happens to the food that goes into the belly?
It goes into the part that breaks all the food that it becomes to liquid.
Oh yeah, I like you listening real good. I like that. I like that. All right, now you can ask your next question.
If vitamin D is usually the sun, so how can it go in your body?
That's a very good question because your skin absorbs sunlight. So because your skin is able to take in light, sunlight, you ever see somebody get a suntan at the beach, right? If they stand out in the sun too long, they're going to get darker, right?
Yeah.
If you stand out in the sun for a long time and the sun is very hot that day, you're going to get a little darker also because your skin is taking in light. And along with the light that it takes in, it's also taking in the vitamin D and it absorbs. It's being absorbed. That's the word. Can you say absorb?
Absorb.
Very good. Can you spell the word absorb?
Uh, A-B-S-O-R-B.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. I didn't even have to help you with that one. Eh? You sounded it out. Absorb. Right?
Okay.
Excellent. You guys are great. You're great. All right. Now, the letter bait is the belly, but out here where we are, it means house. So what does the letter bait mean out here where we are?
House.
Good. And what does the letter bait mean as a part of your body?
Belly.
Good. And what does the letter aleph mean as a part of your body?
Spine.
Good. And what does the letter aleph mean out here where we are?
Strong.
Yeah. It's anything that is strong enough to hold something up. Okay? Just like in your house, you have what are called pillars. You might not know what those are yet. Pillars, P-I-L-L-A-R-S. Sometimes you'll see them in the middle of a room, and they go from the floor all the way up to the ceiling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so you'll ask your dad to show you where the pillars in your house are, okay? They could be in the basement, they can be in the cellar, but they're in the wall, or else your walls wouldn't be able to stand up. Just like your spine is in your back, and if your spine wasn't in your back, your body wouldn't be able to stand up.
Is it like the corners of the wall?
It can be in the corners, it can be in the middle of the wall. A lot of times, if you knock real light on the wall, like, right, sometimes it'll sound hollow, like there's nothing there, just space. Like, and then sometimes you keep moving on the wall with your knuckles, knocking, knocking, and then you'll hear something go like it got hard all of a sudden. That's where the pillars are. Your dad will show you. He'll show you where they are. He knows where they are. Okay.
Okay.
So those pillars are just like the spine. They're doing exactly the same thing to the wall in the house that your spine is doing to your body or for your body. Your spine is holding your body up. The pillars in your house are holding your house up. It's holding everything up, the ceiling, the floor, all of that, because the pillars in the wall are supporting the house. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
That too much for you to think about? Should I slow down? Or are you getting this? Are you understanding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so let's continue. So what part of the body is Aleph?
Spine strong.
All right. And what part of the body is Bait?
Belly house.
Now let's see what happens when we put these two special letters together. Look at that. Do you call your dad Abu?
No.
Okay.
We call him Baba.
Baba is saying the same thing. See, Abu is AB, right?
Yeah.
And then look, if I said Baba, look at what happens. Instead of AB, it's BA, but it's the same letters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That means it's saying the same thing if it has the same letters. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So people who speak strict Arabic, they would say Abu or Abi, my father. But Baba is saying exactly the same thing. In many parts of the world, people say Baba. Matter of fact, probably in more parts of the world, people say Baba than they say Abi or Abba or Abi or Abu. But it's the same thing. All right.
The, for the mamas, like it's called ummi.
Ami. That's for mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about her in a minute. That's why I put the letter meme up there, because that's in her name. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. But right now we're talking about that guy, right? I'm a dad. Your father's a dad. You guys are not dads yet.
Yeah.
But
My
inshallah, one day when you get older and you get married and you have your own house and all of that, then maybe one day after you get married, you'll become a dad also, right? It's great being a dad. It is. It's great being a dad. All right. Now, so remember now, Aleph is the letter A, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, Bait is the letter B. And the U, we don't have to worry about. You don't really have to pronounce the U. It's really just Ab. That's father. Say it, Ab.
Abu.
Okay. Now you can say Abu.
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 Yeah, you're still saying father. Now you can say Abi.
Abi.
Okay. Now when you say Abi, that means my dad, my father, not your father. Abi means my father. So what does abi mean?
My father.
Okay, Furkan, what does abi mean?
My father.
Okay. And it's that E sound at the end of it that means my, not your, my father, okay?
Okay.
So tell me one more time how to say my father.
B.
Abi.
Say it again.
Abi.
Okay, you got to stretch out that last part of it. You got to say abi,
B.
abi.
Abi.
Yeah, like a bee, like bzz. But not that kind of bee. I'm just messing with you, right? Okay, so that's who is that? That is that mom or is that dad? That's Abba. I forgot. Which one are we talking about now?
Dad.
Dad.
Dad, of course. Okay, you want to learn about mom now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So, in the word for mother in Arabic, it's Say that.
Oma.
Um,
Um.
Oma.
Now say ummi.
Omi.
Now, what do you think that means?
My my mother.
Yeah. How did you know that?
Um, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same, like pronounced as Abby.
That's correct. That's right. So it's following that same pattern, right? Abi, my father. Ummi, my mother. And guess how we say that in English? How do we say my mother in English? A different word for mother.
My
Mom?
mom.
Yeah. But if you said my mom, all you have to do is say mommy. See?
Mommy.
Yeah, they learned that from Arabic. You don't have to say my mommy because you're already saying my when you say mommy. So you can either say my mom told me to tell you, or you can say, if you're talking to one of your brothers or sisters or your dad, you can say mommy told me to tell you, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, so the word for mommy is
Oma.
and you see right here, but in Arabic, that U sound is actually the letter Aleph. It's just given a different vowel.
Yeah.
So to spell you would spell it Aleph, Meme, Meme. Can you spell that for me?
Aleph, meme.
Good. And this is the letter Meme, M-E-E-M. Sometimes you might see people spell it M-I-I-M, but it doesn't matter as long as you pronounce it with the long E, Meme.
Meme.
All right. So you already know what Aleph means. What does Aleph mean again?
Strong.
Strong.
And
Right.
spy.
Exactly. Okay. That means the one who holds things up and holds things together, right?
Yeah.
And that's what dad does. Dad goes out to work and he pays the bills and he does this and and all of that. And he holds things together. What is he holding together though? He's holding the house together. The things that need to be done in the house and the strong one in the house. Like if somebody came knocking on your door real loud, right? Boom, 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 boom. Your mother's not going to go to the door if your father's home, right? Who's going to the door? If you hear somebody and you don't know who it is and they're knocking loud, boom, 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 boom. Who's going to the door?
Me and sometimes my little brother
If
Subhan is
your
here.
father is in the house, who's going to that door?
The father.
Thank you. Do you agree with that, Rayon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that if somebody started knocking on your door real hard, your father's not gonna send you. He don't know who that is on the other side of that door. So he's going to go, if he's home, right?
Yeah.
He's going to go to the door. Why? Because he's the strong one in the house. You get it?
Yeah.
He's Ab. He's the strong one in the house. So he's going to go to see if there's some problem on the other side of that door. And hopefully there's not. But if there is, then the strong one in the house is going to deal with whoever that is knocking like a crazy person on the other side of that door. The mailman, or somebody who is at the wrong house thinking he's at his friend's house. Oh, let me in, let me in. I heard the party's over here. No, ain't no party over here. Get away from my door. You're gonna send the strong one in the house. You're gonna send dad. Dad's gonna get up and go to the door. Okay. So he's the strong one in the house. Now, mom, she's strong too, because she's got Aleph in her name too, right? Aleph Meme. But how many memes does she have in her name?
Meme on 2.
Yeah, right there. She's got 2 memes. Now, let me see if you can figure out what that means. Meme by itself means water. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you have strong water, then look at what you have. What is that?
Blue.
Go.
Yeah. So she's not only strong water, and I'll tell you what that means so you won't be confused. She is also the strong glue in the house. Now, all you got to do is think about what glue does. What does glue do when you
Stick.
use it? Yeah, it helps things to stick together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's your mother who is the strong glue in the house because she helps you guys stick together.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wants you to play together. She lets you go to the store with her and you're together. When you go on vacation, all of you are in the car together. So she's the one that's holding all of the family, especially the children. She's the one that's causing you to stick together. And she tells you you can't be arguing and fighting with your brother, right? Because you're family and you have to stick together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what does. She's the strong glue, not really like physical glue. We know she's not glue, like you take her to school and use her to stick stuff onto your paper and all that. That's not the kind of glue. We're talking about an idea, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she is the strong glue that holds family members together. Okay?
Okay.
Now, there's a part of your body that holds people together or holds things together. What part of your body? There are 2 of them actually on your body that hold things together or that can hug things. What parts of the body?
Arms.
Yeah. Did you know that the English word arm comes from the Arabic word um?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, because the arms hold things together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the arms, they do what your does, your mother. They they bring things together. You feel good when your mother puts her arms around you, and if you're worrying about something or you lost your toy and you're crying or whatever, and your mother comes and she puts her loving arms around you, right? And she makes you feel better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're close to your mother like that, you feel better. When your mother hugs you, it's okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to scream at you for doing that, for breaking that, but you got to be more careful next time. Doesn't that feel good when your mother tells you stuff like that?
Yeah.
All right. So in the camera, say thank you, Say thank you, mom.
Thank you, Mom.
She's watching you. I was like, you got to be more enthusiastic than that. Say thank you, mom.
Thank you, Mom.
All right. Okay. So that's mom that does that. Now, the last part of what I'm going to tell you, you have to pay very careful attention because I'm going back to the letter Aleph, okay?
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
And then whatever ideas you come up with, I want you to let me know what you're thinking about as I say these things to you. You're going to learn a couple of new words right now.
Okay.
Now, I want you to listen to the sound of Aleph. Say it with me. Aleph,
Aleph.
Aleph,
Aleph.
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 Spell it. A-L-I-F.
A-L-I-F.
Again,
A-L-I-F.
I want you to spell it together, like one voice. Say it again.
A-L-I-F.
Say it again together. Together.
A-L-I-F.
All right, you have to get it exactly right together before we can go on. Say it one more time.
A-L-I-F.
Furkan, you started really. Try it again. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
A-L-I-F.
Good, good. Always pays to have a leader. All right. Now, Furkan, can you read this first line?
Aleph can become aloof.
Very good. Have you ever heard of this word, aloof?
No.
No.
Okay, it's an English word, but doesn't it sound a little bit like aleph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So read it one more time, Furkan.
Aleph can become aloof.
Very good. How about you, Rayan?
Aleph can become aloof.
Very good. Now, for Rayan, have you ever heard of the word aloof?
No.
No, because that's not a word that little children use. It's usually a word that you use after you. Matter of fact, even grown people don't normally use the word aloof. But aloof means to be away from something.
Okay.
Like if you have let's say you have some cousins, right?
Yeah.
And your cousins live like just a few blocks from you. But let's say your cousins, for some reason, they don't want to come over and visit you. Your cousins are being aloof from you. It means that you can still see them if you wanted to. You probably see them in the supermarket. You might see them at the bank, but they don't come over to visit because they're being aloof from you. That means they're being away from you, but not so far away that you can't see them at all. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, what did we say Aleph meant? What does it mean?
Aleph can become aloof.
Yes. Now, what happened? Now, what did we say Aleph itself, that word? What does that mean?
Um,
What part of the body is that?
Spine.
Yeah. Now, what would happen if your spine became aloof from your body?
then you can't stand up.
That's right. You die if your spine became aloof. If your spine said bye-bye to your body and it just said, I'm just leaving, I'll see you when I see you. Man, your body couldn't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, if you don't have a spine, or if your spine gets crushed, then the body has to die. And we don't want that to happen. So that's why you got to take real good care of your spine. Be careful how you get up. Be careful if you're lifting something heavy, right? You have to bend down to get it. You got to be real careful. Don't let people sit on your back at school playing around. Hey, sit down and play horsey for me. No, no, no. You can't be sitting on my spine. I'm sorry. You might make a mistake, and you might hurt my spine, and then I can't walk. So don't let people play with your spine. That's a very important bone that Allah put in your back. And it's for you, not for people to sit on and ride on, okay?
Okay.
All right. Furkan,
Yeah.
read that next line for me.
Aleph can become a leaf.
All right. Now I want you to say the words a leaf,
A leaf.
both of you. A leaf.
A
A
leaf.
leaf.
All right. Can you hear how that sounds a little bit like a leaf?
Yeah.
Oh man. Can you hear how both of those sound a little bit like aleph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what a leaf is, right?
Yeah.
What is a leaf?
It's like the green leaves like in the trees. They can
Yeah.
also change colors in the fall.
Yes. Now let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask Furkan first. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If the leaf is no longer a part of the tree, let's say it's on the ground now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that means that a leaf became aloof from the tree. You can still see it, but it's not a part, it's not attached to the tree anymore, right?
Yeah. And that
Okay,
also happens in the winter.
that happens in the winter, that's right. And it happens in the fall,
Yeah.
okay? That's why they call it fall, because they fall from the tree. And when they fall from the tree, they become aloof from the tree, away from the tree by a little bit of distance. Now, can that leaf still change colors after it becomes aloof from the tree?
Yes.
If it's on the ground, does it still change colors?
No.
Ah, what do you say, Rayon?
It does.
It does?
Yeah.
So if it's on the ground already and it's not attached to the tree limb anymore, it's not a part of the tree, it's just floating in the air and then it lands on the grass and it's let's say it's green. You're saying that even though it's not attached to the tree, it can still change from green to yellow to orange to red to brown. It can still change to all of those colors, even though it's no longer a part of the tree.
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
All right, I want you to bring me proof next week.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I don't think it can, but I could be wrong. So you bring me proof. You go to school and you ask your teacher, can a leaf change colors after it falls from the tree?
Okay.
So that's your homework question, okay?
Okay.
All right. You changing your mind? You have the kind of face that says you might be changing your mind. Are you changing your mind or are you gonna stick with that answer?
Yeah. I might change because you could also like color with marker.
No, I'm not talking about coloring it with a marker on a piece of paper. I'm talking about a real leaf. Does a real leaf continue to change colors after it falls off of the tree? That's my question.
Okay.
And you still say it can?
Maybe.
Okay, so you're gonna go to school and find out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good enough. Because I could be wrong.
Okay.
Okay, now the last sentence, and this is for you, Rayon. Read that last line.
Aleph can become a life. And also,
Okay.
if you don't put the E, it'll be the same thing as Aleph, but it doesn't have the A.
Very observant. That's right. So you can hear how a life kind of sounds a little bit like Aleph, right? That's what you're saying. If you took the E off of life, then you'd have Aleph, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the three words here in these three sentences that sound alike, or the three combinations of words that sound alike? Start
The
with Aleph. Say Aleph.
Aleph,
Aleph.
Okay. What word here sounds a little bit like Aleph?
um,
Alud.
Say it again.
Alud.
Aleph,
Aloof. Make sure you put the F on the end.
Aloof.
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 Very good. Now, what word in the second sentence sounds like Aleph?
Alif.
Aleph,
Alif. And what words in the third sentence sounds like Aleph,
A life.
a life. Okay, now the important thing to remember as we close your class for today is that Aleph has to do with being strong, but it's strong because it knows how to stay together.
Yeah.
Those bones in your spine, I'll show them to you one more time. Look at this. See those bones in your spine? There's 33 of them, right? But
Yeah.
they know how to stay together. If one bone said, I'm tired of being in the spine, I'm going to jump out and be a part of the shoulder, that would hurt. Ooh, that would hurt terribly. If that bone said, I don't want to be in line like this. I don't want to be together with these other bones. I'm tired of looking at these same bones every day I get up. See, if your bones had brains and they started thinking like that, you'd be in a lot of pain because they know to stay together. That's how Allah created them. So they love being together. They don't care that one is on top near the head. They don't care that one is all the way down here near the waist and and the spine and the hip and all. They don't care that they're down here. They don't say, I'm down here. Why Allah put me down here? I don't want to be all the way down here. They don't care. They just love being a part of the spine. Okay? It's
Okay.
just like you guys. Bring on, you're older, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but for the con, do you mind being younger?
Yeah,
You don't like being younger?
I do.
Yeah, you like it, of course. You don't care if you're the older one or the younger one. You just like being together in that family, right?
Yeah.
So that's just like the spine. They don't care if this bone came first or that bone is the highest or the lowest. They don't care as long as they're part of the spine. And
This
you don't care as long as you're a part of the family, right?
Yeah.
I have 8 children and they don't care who's the oldest and who is in the middle and who is the youngest and all of that. They're just happy to be in the family. You see how that goes?
I have
All right.
another question.
Say it again.
When will we learn about a load and a node means light?
And Noor,
Yeah,
you want to learn about Noor?
yeah.
We're going to learn about Noor next week.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
happy you know that word already.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
next week we're going to learn about the letter Nun, and that's the first letter in Noor, the letter N. Okay?
Okay.
So for today, I want you to remember these sentences, and I want you to write them out on a piece of paper.
okay. Right now.
You can do it right now. I know you have your papers in front of you.
Okay.
Let me know when you're finished.
Okay. I'm done.
I'll wait for a con.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Okay. So we're going to stop our lesson here, and we're going to pick up here next week.
Okay.
Okay.
And along with that, we're going to learn the word Noor.
Okay.
Okay.
You're going to be very happy when you learn about Noor. What did you say Noor means again?
Light.
Light.
So when you go near the sun, your brain is smarter, and when it's like the night, you become less smarter.
Well, I want you to say that to me again next week, and we're gonna look into that and see if that's true. Okay?
Okay.
Because you can learn a lot of things in your sleep too. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You dream at night, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can learn things from your dreams. So it's not that you become less smart, it's just that you can't see as well with your eyes in
Yeah.
the dark. But Allah created the light and what else?
The stars.
That's right. And well, no, he creates a light, and what's the opposite of light?
Dark.
Darkness, yeah. Yeah. So it was no bad guy that created darkness. It was Allah. He says he created the light and the darkness. He says he created the light so that you could work, and he created the dark so that you could rest. If there was never any darkness and you couldn't go to sleep, you'd be miserable. If the sun never went down, boy, you'd be terrible to live with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
if you like don't sleep, if you don't sleep for a few days or sometimes a week, you could die.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could. If you sleep, they call it sleep deprived. If you're deprived of sleep and you don't get enough sleep, you could certainly die. That's true. That's why you have to take care of yourself. Make sure you get enough rest, relaxed, get some exercise, go walking, stretching when you get up in the morning. Just stretch your arms, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to do a lot to help your body and your mind. Okay?
And
All
another
right.
thing is, a nor can also be a path, and it's also sometimes like a road.
You said a load,
A road.
a load,
The road.
a road. You're saying Noor can be like a road?
No, like yeah, a nor like a path. It can be a path and kind of like a road.
All right, so I want you to teach me about that next week, okay?
Okay.
I want you to show me how a Noor or Noor light can be like a road. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, yeah. So I'll learn something new when we get together next week, okay? All right. Did you guys enjoy your lesson today?
Yes.
What did you learn?
We learn about
The meanings of Aleph and Beit and me.
yeah.
Very good.
The spine, like it has 33 of the bone.
Very good. Very good. They're called vertebrae, but we'll learn that next week, okay? Vertebrae. Can you say that?
Vertebrae.
Yeah, vertebrae. I'll spell that out for you next week, okay? All right. Okay. So I'm going to get ready to have class with your dad, and we're going to be learning big people stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So good seeing you guys again. And
Okay.
inshallah, we'll see each other again next week. Okay. Salaam Alaykum.
Allah.
Allah.
All right.
All right, sir.
That was fun.
That's always fun with the kids.
Yeah, reminds me when my children were little like that, and I used to teach them. Yeah, I had fun teaching them.
All right. How's your kids, by the way?
They're doing so
They must
well.
be grown up, all of them.
Say it again.
They all are grown up, right?
Yeah. My youngest just left before our class, and he's 22.
Wow.
He'll be 22 on the 22nd of this month.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's the youngest of 8.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Thank Allah for each and every one of them. They're wonderful and brilliant children. They love family life. They love their family.
That's
They're
great.
just like their spine. They like to stay together. Yeah.
Yeah. And you help them inculcate all of these things in them.
Pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. I was I was um I was just getting started with this whole NuNETICS concept when the youngest one was born. Lukaman is his name. So
Mhm.
I've been doing NuNETICS for about 22 years. Yeah, about 22, 23 years now
Okay.
as an actual linguistic science or
But you come
technique.
up with this word now or ever since from like 20 years?
From about yeah, from about 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. When I started learning that each letter had its own meaning, I learned that actually more than 30, maybe closer to 40 years ago,
Hmm.
because I was born into the Jewish religion.
Okay.
Yeah. So um, when I would go to the synagogue, I would learn that every Hebrew letter had a meaning. So when I became a Muslim, I said, well, if Arabic is the sister language to Hebrew, then maybe every Arabic letter has a meaning. And when I started thinking like that, that's what led me down the road. And Allah just led me to all of the places I needed to go to learn that that was actually a fact. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
That is
have a
very
system.
interesting.
Yeah. In Arabic, they call it abjad, where they assign meanings to letters and also they assign numbers to letters. And Hebrew has a similar system.
Hmm.
Yeah, that they relate to different kinds of letter and number sciences.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember in one of your clip, correct me if I'm wrong, you said Arabic is the mother language of Hebrew.
Yeah, some Jews would disagree with that, but
Okay.
I believe that that is a fact that Arabic is the mother language.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there was a time in history when the Jews lost that language, Hebrew. It became a dead language. That's when they started speaking Yiddish. They were being persecuted in different places. So if they were speaking or writing Hebrew, they would be frowned upon. So their discontinuing the use of it caused them to actually lose much of the essence of the language, and they had to be retaught Hebrew from Muslims by Muslims. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. One of their major rabbis was responsible for reintroducing Hebrew letters and the meanings of those letters to the Jewish community.
Okay. But what are
And
their grounds? What are their grounds when they say it's not a mother language? On what basis they say this?
that they say that Arabic is not a mother thing, a
Yeah.
mother language.
Yeah.
Well, they like to pretend like Jews have been around longer than everybody. These are the same people that will tell you that in the Bible, Adam was a Jew and Abraham was a Jew and Moses was a Jew, and Moses was a Hebrew. So, and they trace that back, 2000. They say Jesus was a Jew. They make everybody Jewish in the Bible.
Hmm.
So when you can falsify history to that degree, then you can cause people to also believe that your language and your culture and the names that you use or that are used in your scriptures, you can, pretty much cause people to believe that those are the oldest words and that must be the oldest language. You know, for Arabic, they trace it back by maybe 4,000 or so years. So they go back and forth with that. But the fact is that it really doesn't matter which one came first. What matters is which one was able to preserve the integrity of the meanings in the language. And it's clear that even if Hebrew is older, that Hebrew was not able to maintain the integrity of the meanings of its letters. And again, when they lost that knowledge, Maimonides, Maimonides, one of their probably their most famous rabbi in history, he was responsible for re-encouraging them to learn the letter system all over again and to learn the meanings of each of the Hebrew letters. So even if Hebrew is older, the Hebrew or the Jewish community lost those essential meanings. And the important thing to understand is that when the Arabs began to reteach them the meanings of those letters, because they're essentially the same letters, they just pronounced a little differently. For Arabic is Aleph, for Hebrew is Aleph, for Arabic it's Bait, for Hebrew it's Beth, that's their letter B. For us it's Jim, in Hebrew it's Gimel. So it's Dalith for Hebrew, Dal for Arabic. So basically they're the same letters with slight modifications. But when the Arabs retaught them the Hebrew language, they left out a very essential component. And the essential component was that they did not teach them the fitra connections to each letter. So for the Jews, their letter B is Beth, B-E-T-H, Beth Israel, the house of Israel. So their letter B is something in the environment that man built. That's the house. The Arabic letter B, as you just learned, is first and foremost the belly, something Allah created. Then it came to mean house because a house does what the belly does. The belly fills up with food. It digests that food. The belly becomes empty of that food, and then you eat again, and the belly becomes full again. So that letter bait came to mean anything that fills, empties, and refills continuously. And because the house does the same thing with family members, the house became known as Bait and Beth.
Mm.
Yeah, the house fills up with family members. The people grow up, children grow up. Some people die. Some people get married and move out of the house. Sometimes they sell the house and a new family moves in. So the letter B is anything, not just the belly, not just the house, but anything. It can be a box that your children put their toys in, take their toys out of when they play with them, and then put the toys back in the box. That's why the word box begins with the letter B. It's not just the Arabic B, it's B in any language. Just think of a word that begins with B, and it's going to more than likely follow that same principle.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understood, it's irrelevant or immaterial if one language is before or after the other, as long as, because on every Nabi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send a book, right?
Yes.
So now the number is not mentioned. It can be more than 25 or whatever. So as the humanity evolves, the languages changes, but the basic structure or the norms for the laws remains the same.
Yes, indeed.
So
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So if Hebrew is first or Arabic is later, or
in fact, it might be to your disadvantage that it's older. You see, because a thing is older doesn't mean that it's
it can be
excellent.
obsolete. Yeah.
I mean, an adult is older than a baby, but who's got the greatest advantage?
Yeah, obviously in Quran it says Quran covers all the previous revelations.
Yes,
Quran
I'm
has
liking
no
the
bread.
idea that it came later. It doesn't matter to me that Arabic came first or Hebrew came first or Aramaic came before Arabic, that came before Hebrew. It doesn't matter. What matters
Yeah.
is the integrity of the language itself and how the language is able to secure those fitra-based connections. That's the important thing. So it could have very well been that language was invented and then it became improved. So that by the time the Quran came, that particular language had become improved.
Yeah, humanity improved, humanity evolved. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because in
Keeping
previous
in
books,
mind,
I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not telling any prophet how to build an ark. But
right, right.
slowly, it
And
evolved.
also keep in mind, and a lot of Muslims aren't being aware that all of these different prophets that are being mentioned in the Quran, they didn't exist in one space and time in history together. They were in different parts of the world and they were speaking different languages, but they're all speaking Arabic in the Quran because the Quran is in Arabic.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean Noah spoke Arabic or Isa necessarily spoke Arabic, but because the Quran itself is in Arabic, those languages had to be presented in Arabic language. But I also believe it's because there are very special meanings attached to the words. And as I'm teaching it through NuNETICS, very special meanings attached to each letter. Now, other languages such as Hebrew, Aramaic, Chinese even, each of their letters also have special meanings. But the unique thing about Arabic is that it has been able to maintain its connection with Allah's fitr in terms of their meanings, because the language wasn't it wasn't pounced upon by adversaries. You know, normally when somebody comes in to take over your country, to take over your land, the first thing they do is start infiltrating your language. They begin to mix their language with your language, you know, and that kind of thing. So your language becomes, you know, kind of, in a sense, ruined, you know, in that the purity of that language no longer exists. But because there were no adversarial forces in Arabia at that time, they were pretty much left to their own devices, you know. The Romans didn't come swooping down. The Persians didn't come swooping down because there was nothing to swoop down and get.
Yeah.
What were they going to walk away with? You know, it's not like there were diamonds and gold all over the place in those places. So they left it alone. And because they left it alone, the purity of the language remained intact. So by the time the Quran was revealed, that purity was still in existence. That's the beauty of this. So it doesn't matter whether it's 7,000, 5,000 years, 4,000, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
1,500 years ago, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that also makes me to think being a Muslim is basically when you follow the guidelines, may it be because the basic norm or the basic law doesn't change right from the beginning till now. It modifies as the humanity evolves, but it remains the same. So
Yes.
anybody now or previously or maybe later following any guideline that heads to the law given by Allah becomes automatically a Muslim. And the moment he goes away or she goes away from that law, doesn't remain a Muslim.
That's correct.
So a Hebrew speaking Jewish or a Christian or a Hindu, as long as consciously or unconsciously they are following those laws, they are termed as a Muslim.
You're right on point. That's correct. You're right on point. Absolutely correct. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but good to know that you are basically by choice a Muslim. You just told me by choice.
Yeah.
I have, I mean, there are many people who are by chance a Muslim.
I like that.
So
Yeah, I like that. So you're either Muslim by chance or you're Muslim by choice. I always look at it as the difference between the small m and the capital M.
okay.
Yeah, because some things are as a result of conscious attention to the thing, and other things are just happenstance.
Yeah, and that's my, I mean, just like in your NuNETICS, you have 2 capital letters, right?
Yes. Yes.
So is there a basis for those capital letters, or is there a base behind, or is there a strong logic that you deliberately put another capital letter in between, or
In the word noon?
yeah.
Yeah. In the way I spell NuNETICS. Yeah. There's a reason why I put 2 N's there, to draw people's attention to the letter N, which is the letter noon. So I want them to know that NuNETICS is named after the Arabic letter noon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's the only reason it's spelled like that.
okay.
Just to draw it, you know, other than that, people might just say NuNETICS and they might think Dianetics or something crazy. Yeah. So I want them to ask the question, why are you capitalizing those 2 N's? And I say, oh, because that's the word for the letter N in Arabic, nun. I could say Noon, I could say NUN, you know, as long as you pronounce it correctly, it's fine. But I want them to know that that letter itself represents seed, because NuNETICS is the science of seed letters. And the letter Nun means seed.
Yeah. Right. So now, brother, I actually have gone through with some of your YouTube clips, almost 12 to 13 or 14 hours of clips. So, and
Wow.
every clip that I started to hear till the end, a lot of questions came in my mind and a lot of new concepts,
Yes.
and it made me to think, it we have to start from the scratch
Yes.
in order to understand each and every concept very clearly. Because I mean, if you don't take it from the scratch in the midway, you probably have to go back and put some more time. So it's better.
Yes.
So I am at your disposal.
Okay.
How
Okay.
are you gonna take me as? So
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna pull up a piece of paper, also probably the same paper that I use for your children,
mhm.
and we'll go from there. As we just mentioned, NuNETICS is dealing with the meanings of Quranic Arabic seed letters. There should be an S here. And I differentiate between just normal Arabic, which has been influenced by other ideas, which has been modernized. As you know, modern Arabic in the modern standard dictionary, they're giving you words for television, which didn't exist, 1,500 years ago. So they modernized the language. But what the Quran is giving us are meanings that are strictly Quranic Arabic based. And when I say Quranic Arabic, I'm talking about Arabic as it has remained connected to Allah's fitrah. As you know, in Surah 30, Ayah 30, Allah speaks about the deen being the deen of uprightness, Hanifa, and also of what we're following that we call religion as being deen, and the deen of al-fitrah. They call it the original pattern. In fact, if you look at this word pattern and capitalize its um, consonants, you can see that the word fitrah is on that same consonantal pattern, because P interchanges with F. There's no P in Arabic, as you know. You have the T in pattern, doubled in pattern, but you have the T sound, tau, in fitrah, and then you have the R in pattern and the R in fitrah. This AH is a suffix, it's not a part of the original root letters, and this N is a suffix in English, and it's not a part of the root letters. The root letters for pattern are PTR, and PTR are the letters necessary for, pardon me, are the letters that come out of the Greek language in the West, and they represent rocks, actually, Petra, stone. And stone is a generic way of saying creation. They call our planet Earth the third rock from the sun. So creation has always generically been considered a stone or rock or created matter. We call it matter. And all matter has patterns. Whatever Allah has created in matter and in nature presents itself through patterns. Nothing can escape patterns. Therefore, nothing can escape fitrah. Fitrah is all inclusive of every single nuance of a thing that Allah has created. Even invisible things, such as the wind or the air, has patterns. That's how they're able to clock it as being an easterly wind or a westerly wind or gust, gusts of air or wind or storms. You might not be able to see these things with your eyes, but you still see what they affect. So in that sense, we can describe the pattern of these winds because everything is clocked into Allah's fitrah. And it is only the human being who can make a conscious decision to not follow the logic that Allah has placed within the fitrah. When he disobeys the logic that Allah put into the fitrah, which means he's disobeying the logic that Allah has put in his own intelligence, The baby knows to do certain things without the mother teaching it, without the father teaching it. You don't have to teach the baby how to suck milk from the mother's breast. You don't have to teach the baby how to smile. Yeah. A lot of things you don't have to teach human beings because Allah clocked it into your human nature to know those things intrinsically. We know those things inside. We don't have to be taught from the outside about those things. Other things we have to be taught. But basically, the things that we know that are just common sense for human beings to do and how to feel, to feel appreciative when somebody does something for you, you don't really have to teach the child how to be loving, how to be caring. You have to guide the child because the child is dealing with extremes, and you have to always be able to identify when they're going through an extreme, like they don't want to share, their toy with their brother or whatever. You have to teach them that kind of thing. But the basic idea of human kindness, human goodness, that's already clocked into the human fitrah. And when we violate that, then we pay the cost of that violation, unfortunately. So the point here is that fitrah means pattern. And fitrah is essentially the knowledge of two things operating in terms of the pattern, and that is form and function. If you were to sum up the fitrah in two English words, you would say form and function. In other words, how things look on the outside. Like you look at the watch on your arm, on your wrist, and you say, okay, I can describe this watch. It's circular or it's square or whatever. And it has, hands on it, an hour hand, a minute hand, a hand for the seconds and all of that. And any of your two sons can draw a picture of your watch or a picture of the clock on the wall. They say, okay, they draw a circle and then they draw two arms coming off of it and they draw 12 numbers, 1 through 12. And any 5-year-old can do that, or a 7-year-old or a 12-year-old can do that. But a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, or a 12-year-old, or not even a 22-year-old can tell you how that clock or that watch functions. That's a higher science. That's a higher level, right? Of knowing, to know that when you take the face off of the clock, what all that ticking stuff is and all the mechanics beneath the face of the clock, that's how the clock functions. So it's the same thing with the fitrah. The fitrah is not just how the sun in the sky looks or how the moon waxes and wanes as you look at it. It's about understanding how that's happening. And when you go deeper into the science of what the sun is doing, that's when you learn that the sun is not really rising and setting physically, although it looks that way. Allah, He let it look that way. The moon is not really dividing itself into slithers and then into halves and then into 3/4 and then whole moon, and then it begins to disappear. And then there's one night when it doesn't appear at all. It didn't go anywhere. But you don't know that until you investigate it more thoroughly than just looking at the form. You have to know how that moon functions. And it's the same thing with human life. You can't just look at a human being and make a judgment based on our form. See, I could look at you and say, well, what part of the world is he from? Okay, he's got brown skin, he's got this kind of hair, he's got certain feature of his nose, and his lips are certain of it. And then I make a judgment about where you come from based on your form. It doesn't make sense. I go into parts of Africa and I say, well, they can't be as good as me because look at their hair. Their hair is like a sponge, we're supposed to have straight hair as humans. Those are the best humans with the straight hair and the straight noses and the small lips, and they have to be from some part of Europe. So they're judging humans based on forms. Black skin, brown skin, red skin, yellow skin, white skin. So we're looking at the outer display of what a human being is supposed to be. And then we tag them and say, that's superior. Or the opposite of that is inferior. And all of the while, we're judging by the form without attempting to know more about how those people function. See? So Allah says in the Quran that He created us as tribes and nations so that we might be curious about each other. لِتَعَارَفُوا. that we might get to know each other, become more curious about it. He didn't create all these differences in us so that we would despise each other and talk about who's better than who. That's Iblis's mind. You created me from fire. I am better than him. See, that's Iblis talking in the Quran. And khayrun minhu, right? I'm more useful. I'm more utilitarian. I'm more beneficial than that guy that you're creating from clay. See, so that's the racist mind. That's the mind that's more impressed by the form. You created me from fire. That was his form. But if Iblis were to keep talking and start telling you about how he functions, then he'd have to say, you created me from fire and air or oxygen, because the fire needs oxygen in order to burn. But he didn't want to give you that much information, because if you know that he operates also based on oxygen, you also know that if you deprive him of his oxygen, then his fire goes out. See, he didn't want you to know all that. So he just said, you created me from fire. He kept the attention on the form without drawing any attention or putting any light, no pun intended, on how he functions. And that's how most people are. So if we want to get the best out of this fitra-based life, we have to go beyond how Allah created us as a form. That's just the foundational us. That's us as a foundation. How cute the baby is, or whatever, how tall the baby is growing to be, and that's just the form. We have to pay more attention to how that baby functions at each important juncture in that baby's life. So that's why they say, okay, from birth to 7 years old is when they're recording information into the mind, and from birth to 2 years old, and when they become a toddler, and other things are supposed to happen. So people who study the human being on those levels that have to deal with how you function at certain ages, whether you're ahead of the curve or whether you're behind the curve or whatever, then they know what to do for you to help speed up your learning experience or add something that might have been missing to that learning experience. But you have to know how the human being functions in order to do that. So is all of that making sense?
Yeah, it's just one thing where I need some more clarity, which is, there is always a discussion that fitra is established based on the circumstances. Like, for instance, if there are some mothers that are in a jail where their babies live with them, so for them, crime is probably a sign of pride. And when they grow up or when they come out of the jail, for them, in their fitra, uh, uh, crime is not a crime, but a sense of pride or maybe a sense of happiness. So how do you differentiate this as, like, form is what on what patterns Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this life or the human beings, but the function is based on the fitra, or and what
Question. Good question. Yes. But keep in mind that the fitra is based on how Allah created it as a form and as a function. Now, when you do things or when you create an environment that encourages behaviors that are outside of the actual fitra that Allah created, you're no longer performing as a functional being. You're actually performing as a dysfunctional being. You're still in the environment, but if that environment created you to go opposite the way your fitra is encouraging you to go, your fitra is not encouraging you to go in the way of stealing and robbing and hurting people and killing people and all the rest of that. But the environment, which is a very, very, very strong influence on the human mind, stronger even than your genetics, my belief, that your environment is stronger as an influence in your life than even your DNA. Your environment can actually cause the way your DNA is programmed to also become dysfunctional.
exactly? That's what I was thinking. that
Yeah.
even if you take the example of a seed, if you keep on growing those seeds over the period of time in a certain environment, there will be a time come when, like for instance, GMO, right? So uh, and that's this, I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
this is what I heard, that then those fields where we grow the GMO seeds,
Mhm.
they are no more capable of growing the natural seeds then.
That's right. That's right. And look at what Allah says again in 30:30. He says, and do not make any alterations on Allah's fitrah, on the creation of Allah. Do not make any alterations, see, on that original pattern. So there are people who are able to go into nature and start tampering with the fitrah of these things. But again, they're causing them to become dysfunctional and malformed or ill-formed. Remember, fitrah is form and function. Tampering with the fitrah creates deformed things and dysfunctional things. So even in the area of sociology and psychology, we're dealing with deformed perception, even how people perceive things can be deformed. If I'm seeing you because of where you come from, and I'm attaching certain value judgments because I don't even know you. I haven't even spoken to you, but because you're from India, because you're from Africa, because you're from Europe, because you're from Alaska, whatever, I might have some preconceived prejudice about people based on some crazy experience I had when I was, 12 years old with somebody from Alaska. Now everybody from Alaska is bad. So that's a deformed perception. So what should be natural fitra form as Allah created our perception to operate becomes malformed or deformed. And what should be normal functional ability in us becomes dysfunctional ability. So the objective in clinical psychologists and psychiatrists and people who study the mind, the objective should be to teach what's necessary to bring the dysfunctional back to functionality. It's not just about leaving them there and creating an excuse. Well, the environment. Well, what are you doing to reshape the environment? If your fish are dying in your fish tank and the fish tank is dirty and that's the reason why they're dying, you're supposed to do what you can do to help clean up the fish tank. That's their environment. So if I'm looking out here in the world and I see that criminals are being created because they live in a certain environment, the ghetto or wherever it might be that they live, then what am I doing to contribute towards the cleaning up of the ghetto? See, especially if I live in the ghetto with them, then it's my obligation, if I know better, it's my obligation to try to do better, to at least speak to the concern.
Yeah.
And this is what every prophet was sent into the world to do. They lived among the people. They were in the ghetto. They were in the streets. You know what I mean? You couldn't fool them. They
Agreed.
weren't these puritanical people who didn't know what was going on. They didn't have their ear to the ground. They knew what was going on. And Allah gave them the wisdom and the wahi that was necessary to begin addressing the real problems that were causing that deformity and that dysfunctional behavior. That's what the Quran is. That's really all the Quran is.
So
It's
that
addressing the deformities and the dysfunctionalities in people and showing you how to redesign your life, beginning with your own mind and your own intent, and then stretching out to the environment, how to begin reorganizing and redefining your environment, your family life, the neighbor, the business life. When Allah says do good for people, that's what He's addressing. How to take what has become dysfunctional, even in your relationship with the person begging on the street. We have an obligation to that person because it's going to be our treatment of that person that could possibly bring that person out of that and into success.
yes.
See? So that's what the Quran is not here to give us rituals and to just teach us how to pray all day long
Yeah.
and fast during the month of Ramadan and all of that. The Quran didn't come here for that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, so in a nutshell, or if I give the synopsis, so in Quran Majid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that your mind can go beyond the domain. So as long as it's under the umbrella of revelation, it will be on a fitra
Yes,
and the right understanding of the revelation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The fitra is broad. It's not this little, cubby hole that they try to they try to pigeonhole us into. The fitra is just the 5 salats a day, and the fitra is just the fasting during the month of Ramadan, and the fitra. No, man, the fitra is broad as the
Yeah.
cosmos.
Yeah. The real
The
essence
entire
is,
cosmos is under that principle.
yeah, the real essence is far more holistic than
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Hmm.
And no offense, the accent was not to give offense to any people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just that's the accent that I've heard most of those excuses and those explanations given in. So I normally default to that because I know there's a lot of people listening to me who need to hear it in their language because they're responsible for the dysfunctional ideas that have come into this deen. And it's unfortunate. So Allah sent somebody from the hood like me to help you straighten it out.
Yeah.
I'm from the projects of New York. I'm not from Mecca. I'm not from Egypt. I'm not from any of those places. I'm from New York, New York.
Yeah.
You understand? And I speak the language of the people who I'm addressing. And this is what makes me so endeared to those people because they know, just like the prophets say in the Quran, that we speak the language. Allah says that He always sends the people speaking the language of the people who they are addressing. He doesn't send outside people who don't understand the colloquial, the nuances in the language. And, I could listen, there are symbols that we use. Back in the 60s and the 70s, the hippies would go around saying, peace, brother, peace, man. Right? And they put up the two fingers like that. But in some parts of the world, that's an insult.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in some parts of the world, you do that, that's an insult. And in other parts of the world, the German use of the swastika was a bad thing. But in parts of Africa, the swastika is a symbol of universal design, going out in all four corners, turning around like a wheel. Yeah, that's where the Germans got it. That's where the Nazis got it. So depends on where you are in the world. Your symbolism is going to either offend some people, while at the same time it's going to attract some people as something good. So we can't get caught up into a life of living through symbols alone. We have to be able to explain that language in the language of the people who we're attempting to address, or else we're going to offend people if we don't. We can't go around, for instance, as many Muslims around the world do, and even in America, although they're in America, they think that everything they say in the Jummah has to be all in Arabic, even before they give it in English. It's ridiculous. Why? The majority of your audience, if it's not people who speak Arabic, why are you giving 30 minutes worth of a khutbah? These people in the audience, although they say they're Muslim, they don't speak Arabic, they can't read the Quran in Arabic. Why are you wasting 20 minutes reciting Arabic that they don't understand? When your real job is, if you're going to teach them the Quran, take those Arabic words and translate them into the language of the people that you're speaking to. I don't understand. I do understand it, but I don't understand it. I
Yeah,
know you understand it.
there are the 7 or the 10 or the 50 concepts of Kirat. Mostly people are more focused on how they pronounce the word rather than even if they're understanding it wrong, as long as if they're understanding the meaning and they're applying it in their life is more important. But
Yeah.
more focus is towards how it's been pronounced.
Yeah. And we have to be bold enough now to ask them, where did you get that emphasis? Did the Quran tell you the emphasize the pronunciation of these words? Like, in fact, I asked one sheikh, I said, can you show me in the Quran the word tajweed? As much emphasis as we make about tajweed, proper tajweed, I said, can you show me this word tajweed in the Quran? And they always go to some other word, taratil, you know. So I didn't ask you about taratil. Well, it's the same as, well, if it's the same as taratil and Allah is using the word taratil, why are you using the word tajweed? Why won't you use the word? Isn't the word that Allah chose the better word? See? So they do the same thing. They play these kind of tricks with the language, you know, and that's unfortunate because what they're doing very subtly is establishing their own scholarship over what Allah revealed. And that's very unfortunate for them that they do that because
Yeah.
Allah says not to do that with His word. His word is sufficient and it's complete and it's explicitly detailed. So you don't need to add your scholarship on top of what Allah has revealed. Just tell the people what Allah revealed. Use the words, use the terminology that Allah revealed. Don't give me aqidah and tell me that it means the same thing as iman, when the word aqidah is not in the Quran, not in that form. You got other forms, God, and other words that are used that doesn't mean what you're telling me it means. But don't ask me about my aqidah when Allah didn't ask me about my aqidah. He asked me
Yeah.
about iman.
Brother Bilal, I'll tell you something funny. This word akida, in the beginning I came to know about, the five pillars, and in America when I came in, I got to hear the sixth one too, the preordained concept of life. That and then I tried to search more deeper into the forms of akida or where this coming from. And I get to know there are akida to Tahawiya, akida to Atri, akida to Ashri, akida to
Yeah.
Wasfiya, akida
Oh,
to
man.
Matrudi. So, and each one is contradicting with and
Yeah.
it's not validated by even the Prophet or Allah.
No,
So,
no. Allah would have never bogged
yeah.
the human brain down with all of that.
So anybody after that used to tell me, this is my akida. So I always ask them, which akida you're talking about? Akida to Tahawiya, akida to
Right.
Atri, Matrudi, or Wastia, and they don't have the answer even then.
Yeah, these are schools of thought. And schools of thought were actually a copycat of what was already being done in parts of Europe with what they were calling school. You can just Google this. Just Google what are schools of thought. It's going to take you to Europe before it takes you to the Middle East and Islam. It's going to take you to Europe because they had schools of thought where they were differentiating between their scholars, who was better, who had the better idea, who was the brighter bulb in the pack, and all of that. And that crept into the deen first during the Umayyad period. We'll discuss that on a different day. Then through the Abbasid, those so-called empires, they established all of this extra stuff
Yeah.
that we're supposed to be believing and doing, and they're all contradicting each other when they establish this stuff. And then we get caught up in it, and that's why people who come in who are not Arab very often feel inferior in the deen because they tie all of these concepts up in Arabic words, making you think it's the Quran speaking when it's really just their scholars speaking. See, and when we do that, we at least in the subconscious mind, we're saying, I'll never measure up. So therefore, I might as well just give up trying to learn the deen for myself and leave it to the people who have already been that and done that and been there and done that and got the t-shirt to prove it. They were there, they learned it. Their fathers were learned and their grandfathers were learned. And so we're depending on them and their forefathers when Allah says very clearly in the Quran to not do that. Allah says, will you follow the ways of your forefathers even if they were idiots? That's how Allah talks to us. Even if they were fools, you would still follow them because they're in your genetic pool, because you have their DNA running through your veins. No, we don't do that. We follow al-haq. We follow the truth as Allah revealed it. And it doesn't matter who's dispensing it. If it's truth from Allah, then we submit to it. But Allah never made it as difficult as people make this deen to be in our day and time. And again, that's why people are afraid of it. We have a whole new meaning for jihad. We invented new meanings for words that are very clearly outlined in the Quran in terms of what they mean. To the point now where you hear Muslim, the average person in the world thinks Arab or Muslim Arabs. When Arabs are, that's a small piece of the pie when it comes to Muslims in the world. I think Indonesia and, these places, they have many more Muslims. than Arabia. But we think, okay, we hear the word Allah. We don't know that Christians in Arabic speaking lands, they say Allah also, but they don't mean what we mean when we say Allah. We know the pagan Arabs before the time of Muhammad the Prophet. They had the term Allah. His father's name was Abdullah, servant of Allah. So how could Allah have come with the message of the Quran? It did not. But that Allah meant something different than the Allah that Allah revealed in the Quran. And it's a very subtle difference that we'll explain on a different day.
Sure.
But you'll be happy to hear what the difference is that most Muslims don't know, and that's why they get caught in that debate with Christians. Well, Allah is a moon god, and then they show them in the history where Allah is spoken of as being a moon god, a crescent god, a moon god, and all of that. And the Muslims don't know how to defend themselves, so they get irritated and agitated, and they start huffing and puffing and blowing off steam. When it's a very early, pardon me, it's a very easy answer to that. Like I said, we'll talk about that on a different day if you remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fitra is basically the form and the function. Got it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
And one question, a little apart from the conversation, you have your books online where I think there is one of your book, but I don't know exactly, that gives you the meaning behind each of the letter, right?
Yes, that's the NuNETICS book, the first book.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Now, there's also a book called 50 of the most often used words in the Quran and their fitra-based meanings. So I think that book is called Quranic Connections. You'll see that there. Quranic Connections. So I've chosen 50 of the most often, not the most often used, but words that are used often in the Quran. And I've given you their meanings based on the NuNETICS fitra-based meanings so you're not going to find these meanings in the average dictionary, Arabic English dictionary.
But somehow they will give or project the same meanings almost.
Not only will they project the same meanings, in many cases, they're going to project meanings that go above and beyond what you'll find in the dictionary. So,
Right.
for instance, if they say that Iman means faith, the NuNETICS breakdown of each of those letters, Aleph, Mim, Nun, that form the word Iman, Amana, when I break those letters down based on their fitra or nature-based connections, you're going to not only know that it means faith and trust, you're going to know exactly why. And that's what the main and major dictionaries can't give you. They can't tell you why this word in the Quran means what it means. Obviously, if they have different letters, they're going to have different meanings. But if you don't know what the meanings of the letters are, that's why you can't tell me what the word is actually saying and how expanded. This is the Quran we're talking about. Those words should have expansive meanings, but although they have expansive meanings, they're still all interrelated. It doesn't mean one thing and then something opposite that somewhere else, or it doesn't kowtow to schools of thought and small ideologies that are trying to push their agenda. See, Quranic words are not doing that because what's giving you your meaning for the word is something that you can identify in nature, not in al-asar. You identify it in nature. Just like I told your sons, if the letter Aleph is connected to the spine, anybody can study the spine. I don't have to go to al-asar to study what my spine does. I can go online.
Yeah.
See? So once you do that and you start accumulating information related to what the spine actually does as a form and a function, you know how it's formed. You compare it to other things in creation that have that same form. You see that same form in the middle of any leaf. The leaf has a spine with a nervous system of branches, just like the body does. So the whole beautiful thing about the fitra is that you can compare patterns with alike patterns. And that's how the understanding of what that letter is saying increases. So when you read the Quran now, you're not just dealing with some small pigeonhole definition. You're dealing with, I would even call it cosmic references now. because those designs are all over. That same design in that leaf is in the lightning bolt. You understand? It's the same design. Zigzag, zigzag, zig. It's in the lightning bolt. It's in fractal geometry. The same. If you magnify a line, there's going to be no such thing as a perfectly straight line. That's what fractal geometry tells us. But that fractal geometry is all throughout nature. It's in the seashore. It's in the line that the water creates at the seashore. It'll never be perfectly straight. It will always be fractal. So this is what the Quran came to introduce to us. Not only that which you knew about, but as Allah says, "Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam." Then Allah also taught the human being that which he was not knowing about. He had no knowledge of it, nor could he have come into knowledge of it on his own. It could only be revealed through revelation. That's the beautiful thing about the Quran. It's not a science book. It's not a textbook from college or something. It is the direct word, meaning the direct frequencies coming from Allah's ultimate ilm, which he says, if all of the oceans were ink, yeah, and all of the trees were pens, you could never exhaust what's in this kalam. You could never exhaust it. So how can we compare the Quran with the Bible or the Torah or any of these other books that have been messed around with? It stands on its own, unique.
Or make it dependent on a Shan Azul or some other outside source.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Aye.
Mhm.
So my task, Brother Bilal, is and you can propose a better solution, but I was just thinking to go through with those books first,
Yeah.
try to see how you interpret the meanings and how
Sure.
you, and then I'll come up with some more questions, and
Not
then
a
I'll try
problem.
to relate it with the Quranic words and see how it gives
Yes.
the larger picture, or it gives more of a brighter or a bigger essence behind it.
Yes. Yeah. So I will concentrate with the book called NuNETICS and
Right.
also the one that I just mentioned called the 50 Most Often Used Words in the Quran. They're like companion books, So once you understand and also I'm working on a version of the NuNETICS that I'm calling NuNETICS for beginners.
Okay.
Yeah. For people who are not even familiar with the Arabic letters or Arabic reading or not even familiar with the Quran. But I'm doing it so that if I were writing it out here in the world, I'd call it NuNETICS for dummies, but I don't like to insult people. So I won't say that. I say NuNETICS for beginners, where each one of the levels is maybe just 1 page long, a page and a half to describe
Yeah,
the
that
letter
sounds very
and what it does and where it is in nature and how it operates and how it influences the word and that kind of thing. So it's going to be very beautiful once I put the finishing touches on it. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So that's where you and I will meet and greet each other on the NuNETICS
Yeah.
and on how these words are used within the Quran itself and how to pull these meanings out based on the letters that are being used.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
So until we meet
All
again,
right. Yes, indeed. I
thank you very
appreciate
much.
your time and your patience
No,
and your
thank you very much.
attention.
Always a pleasure.
Okay. And as always, your children are wonderful. And
And so is the teacher.
oh, well, listen, I'm looking forward to, like Mahdi, 11-year-old Mahdi. I'm looking forward to how all these children, I think I have about 7 of them altogether now. Uh, man, yeah, I think there are about 7 altogether of them. And they're all about in that same age group between like 8 and 11, 12, right around there. What they're going to be doing 6 months to a year from now is going to amaze even you as their parent.
Yeah, I can imagine. Working on the seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep
Better.
those seeds in the right environment for growth.
Yep.
And your job is done. All right. So thank you, and inshallah, we'll see each other. What day did we say? Did we
I'll
say?
let you know.
Yeah.
My kids, whenever you have the next available time, you could let me know, and I'll make them available. And once I go through with both the books, then
Yeah.
then I'll let you know too. Most
Very good.
likely next week, but if not, the next to next week.
Okay.
All right.
No problem. You let me know if you're available next Friday. Fine. If it's
Yeah.
if it's some day in between that's better for you, just let me know ahead of time and we can work it out.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I want to keep them on a regular every week, even
Okay.
if you can't make it one week or
Yeah.
whatever, as long as I get to them because I have to keep
Yeah.
reinforcing
Yeah.
certain things so that I see with them though, they're pretty good with memorizing. And
Yeah.
even though we haven't met in a while, they still, I know you're going over the work at home and they're looking at the videos and that kind of thing, but it amazes me and it warms my heart to know that they're taking this that seriously, that they really want to learn this information.
Yeah.
So I
I
want them
have
to.
some set incentives for them, so they get their incentives. At the same
Okay.
time, they get theirs. All
That's wonderful. That's
right.
wonderful. Okay, I
Thank you,
appreciate you.
brother. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. Salaam Alaykum.
Walaikum assalam.